Welcome to another exciting interview for the Wild Women Symposium, which will be in the spring of 2015 from May 29th through May 31st. So that is the weekend after Memorial Day weekend, so nobody panics and says, oh my gosh, that's Memorial Day weekend. The cost for the Wild Women Symposium, which is a Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, is $200 for the weekend, the whole weekend. And it's a wonderful event where the ladies are going to get to try out different classes that help them become their best and most beautiful divine feminine possible. Today I have with me Teresa Spyra, who is going to be one of our amazing facilitators, and she will be teaching a class on Sunday with the Wild Women Symposium. Hi, Teresa.
Hello.
So tell us all about you and what you do, because you have a lot of things on your resume.
Okay, well, I live out in beautiful wild backcountry, West Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. I'm originally from the West Coast. I went to school for political science and psychology. I'm a recovered addict and a survivor of physical, emotional, sexual violence. And really, I came to a place in my life fighting depression and addiction where I really was able to finally, after going through so much, embrace my soul path. I'm a Reiki master now. I own a company called Seraphim Therapies, which we focus on healing from the inside out. So your physical self, your emotional self, and your spiritual self. So that is a little bit of what I do. So we'll be coming out to teach Your Journey, Your Pace, which is about coming to terms with everybody has their own pace and how they learn and how they grow, and they're actually able to embrace their soul path. And it can take you 60 years. It can take you 15 years. It just depends on the lessons that you need to learn, and there's no hurry, and there's, what that is. So we'll be taking time to release that comparison, release some of that guilt or shame that maybe I'm not where I believe I need to be, and understand that the universe has a greater path for you, and that it's okay to let go and embrace that greater thing, and to give way to the pain that you may be holding on to that is actually what's preventing you instead of helping you move forward.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. I mean, one of the reasons we're so excited that you're coming all the way from West Virginia all the way out to the Wild Women Symposium. We're super happy because you are the embodiment of what we're trying to show is possible with the Wild Women Symposium. I believe that all of us have gifts and all of us have wounds, and I think sometimes our wounding is what propels us or gives us the energy or the fuel for our gifts. I have this like metaphor I play with in my head, and that's like before we come down here, there's these angels flying in and out of heaven or Bardo or whatever, and they kind of come in and say, hey, we need somebody down on the planet to teach this particular thing. And you raised your hand and said, me, me, me. And when you did that, they said, oh, well, guess what? I mean, you're going to have this physical abuse. And, for you to have the compassion, you're going to have to go through all this really intense stuff, because if you don't know the way out of the darkness, you can't show anybody the way out of the darkness.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I do talk to a lot of the healers and light workers that I surround myself with. And really, that's what it is that you cannot help somebody else get to a better place if you can't have the empathy that you need to really connect soul to soul, to understand, to have that patience and that unconditional love, because you've been in the dark place. I always tell people that are struggling, with eating disorders and self-harm and addiction, your spiritual journey, you will find your spiritual journey at the end, after you've gone all through this, and be able to pay back. And I feel it's a blessing that I can pay back to others who may be just starting, maybe in the middle, maybe ending, maybe they've just come to the other end and they don't know what to do with themselves yet. So, but I absolutely agree that is, it is a better, we are better for it, as fortunate that we have to go through it, but, we are plunked down on earth like shards of glass, and the things we go through tumble through to make us really shine, like the geodes and the light inside. So, thank you so much for letting me participate, to come to teach this. So I know it's going to be great.
It's going to rock. I mean, the last time at the symposium, I mean, we got sort of brave and bold, and you'll appreciate this for the journey that you've been through. And we kind of dove into some of the heavy, subjects, because every one of us on my team and have really benefited from really being unafraid of going into the darker places inside of us and unveiling the light that's been hidden in the shadow. And so we kind of dove in, and oh my gosh, we had so much big transformational intense work starting to happen. And so we went, and so, the good news is that the Wild Women Symposium is this completely safe environment for people to be able to open. And we want everyone to have that permission to feel that they can dive in. And we also want to create tools that they can work with to guide themselves through it. Because what happens when you break through and open up to something, all the shit kind of comes up.
Yes, and you have to re-deal with it that you didn't ever know how to do it, which is why it was a problem to begin with.
Right, exactly. And so the tendency is to want to stuff it in the corner again. And, I was sitting there going, okay, whoa, 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 breathe, breathe. You can do this, you can do this. And they're like, no, 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 I can't. I'm like, yes, you can. And I said, you're doing it right now. And they're like, oh my God, I'm doing it, right? And what I love about women is that they are so willing if they feel safe. And what has been so remarkable about the Wild Women Symposium is that what I've tried to do was to create facilitators who really knew what they were talking about and had really done the work. And so they're not afraid of taking anybody else through. And it's oftentimes, for me, my teacher's faith and belief in my ability to break through gave me the courage to break through.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't have the courage yourself, but you need a little bit of extra juice, and that's what it is. And being in a room full of women that are all believing also that they can break through creates a telepathic agreement field that is hugely transformational. Yeah. And so, and you've written books too. So you're like this author. Like, tell us about your books.
Well, I have my first one was out last year on my birthday. It's a great, yay, for my first birthday. It's a book of poetry. It's a journey of love and loss, and fairly well received for a first publication. This last fall I published the Attitude of Gratitude Challenge, which has been very well. It helps reformat your thinking in terms of, when you come upon a hard part in your life, that you actually, use gratitude to transform yourself. A lot of the things that I have written and have done, my friends tease me and tell me I'm an alchemist because I like to turn the bad into the good all the time, like transform the coal into lead into gold, and so it's a lot of that. And then of course your Journey Your Pace will be a book after the symposium, so I'll be using that, as a friend. But I want to do the symposium first. So if you want to experience, you gotta go to the symposium first. But yeah, and I have a few other things that I have some TV shows that people looking at, and I don't know, I'm busy, but hey, you gotta get a message out there. Like you said, the universe will conspire, that if you are on the right path, the universe will conspire to make you unusually successful. So you just have to have that faith.
Exactly. And, it's that place to have the faith in yourself, to have that faith in yourself to know that you can transform. And I just don't believe in limitation. And the Wild Women Symposium is a smorgasbord that gives you a taste test of all the tools and techniques that I personally have found incredibly helpful, and then also some new techniques that I have recently discovered that I think are incredibly helpful. And you have tracked so many things, and what I love is that you're so energetically positive and bright and bubbly, and and it's so hard when you've been through abuse to shake off the dark, heavy energy that was projected onto you. How did you do that?
Well, it's a process. I just turned 37, so it's not like I did it yesterday. Been clean and sober for 7 years coming up in May, so that's excellent. So yeah, and addiction is pain. It starts with pain that you didn't want to deal with, and ends with letting go of the pain. So of course that was a process in itself, and I was the kind of person that jumped from, a drug to cigarettes to, those kind of things. So I went through that, of course, therapy, and I always had hope that one day it would end. As long as I didn't give up, it would end. when I was really little, you know, a very physically abusive home, and you know, my mom talks about, you know, coming upon me, and I was an infant, and I was looking at my father, and I was sitting up straight, and I wasn't gonna let anyone look at me incorrectly. That I was a queen, and that was it. And I've always just thought, you know, when you meet me, I'm a very small person. I'm only 5 foot tall. So, but I'm always, you know, ready to fight until the end. And you know, my biggest journey is learning to not have to fight. That you'll get to it anyways. So, and as long as you don't stop, you'll get there. I remember reading Tyler Perry writing about climbing a mountain after he had written one of his movies. He was exhausted, but he thought it'd be a great meditative journey up the hill. And he was halfway up the hill, and he thought to himself, wow, you know, looking down, I didn't realize how far I had come just by not stopping, by not ending, you know. And he made it. And I've always tried to tell people that I counsel, that I help, that I work with, that one step is, you know, a 1,000-mile journey, and you have to do that, you know. And we are so much more than our story. We are so much more than, you know, our trials and tribulation. And you know, you have to have faith in yourself, and know that you have to be your own best friend. And that was my biggest struggle, I think, was forgiving myself for the times I wasn't my own best friend, and being able to do the work and to know that one day it'll get better, you know. And it took 35 years, but it did finally get better. So it's not like it took better and I graduated high school. Woo, it was great. So, you know, as much as I wanted it to be the truth. So,
well, I mean, my joke with that is that Buddha was enlightened at 35. See?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's just one of those things. You got to give yourself the time, and if it's meant to be, it'll happen as long as you don't stop. And I think we forget that when we look at ourselves and we say, man, I've been fighting this, whatever it is, for so long, but we don't realize how much stronger we are than when we started the problem. We don't realize how much farther along we've gotten, or how much we're actually, you know, only 25% away from the end, but we want to give up, you know. And so many people give up halfway across the bridge, and there's so much more, you know, to have that faith in yourself. You don't have to believe in the superpower of the universe, anything. All you have to do is believe in yourself. And at the end, if you are your own best friend and cut yourself some slack, you'll figure it out and you'll get where you need to go.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love about the Symposium and the way I've created the Symposium is that we try and change facilitators and tools, and what is the latest tools that are out there that people are discovering, and even more important, the tools that people are creating because of their own personal journey. And this is a constantly expanding thing. And one of the funny things that Jackie said at the last Symposium is she said, okay, you know how Suzanne makes you all grow at the Symposium? Well, kind of know she makes her facilitators do that too.
I'm for it. I can always get better. You can always get better.
And so, you know, what's wonderful about the Symposium is that in the classes, you're going to see other facilitators. So I believe that the teacher is the student, is the teacher is the student. And so you never really stop learning. And it was so fun to see people go into classes that were their edge, like, you know, facilitators that, you know, have a tool or style over in one area, and they've gone in to try something totally radically different out. And, you know, even us facilitators were like, oh, God, what have I done to myself? Like, you know, shit, you know. And so that people really loved that because, you know, they saw the facilitators in a very human light. And one of the reasons that we do these interviews is so that people recognize that you don't have to be perfect. You only have to keep working on yourself. And karma is karma, and every one of us has karma, and we're all working through something. And I share my stories just like you share your stories, because if I made it through, you can make it through.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, what is that saying? You were given this mountain to prove to others that it can be moved. You know, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. You are here to tell a story and to go through things so that you can help others who need to learn the same lessons.
Exactly. And I believe that whoever shows up at the Wild Women's Symposium is attracted to the energy that is there, that is being created. And what was so beautiful was that throughout the whole event, the last two times that we've done it, I mean, there was something bigger and more powerful than just the individual facilitators moving them. And I walked into some rooms and it was like something embodied in the facilitator, like something bigger than them stepped in them and started moving through them. And even the facilitators were like, whoa, what was that? You know, and I was like, that was the divine feminine, and she just came in and took over the class. So I'm so excited that you're coming, and we are super happy to have you. And is there anything, do you want to share your website or anything with people? How can they find you?
Okay, well, I am owner of Seraphim Therapies, which is www.seraphimptherapy.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter, even though I honestly don't get on Twitter very much, but there is an account. You can follow it for when I do use it. I am also on Facebook. I have a public account. You can follow me, which is facebook.com/Teresa.Spyra. And yeah, those are the best ways to find me or what I'm doing. There's email lists on the Seraphim Therapies website. I teach Reiki. There's Reiki classes available for sign up on that. I'll be in New York in June, and I'll be in Boca Raton, Florida in September teaching Reiki. So if anybody lives in those areas, you're more than welcome, or you can come out to Wild and Wonderful, West Virginia. Harper's Ferry, historical Harper's Ferry is right around the corner. DC is a stone throws away. So even though we're in the woods, there's a lot to do. So you can come out and spend a couple days and learn the healing power of Reiki and start on a healing journey.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Teresa, for having this interview with me, and I look forward to seeing you at the symposium.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.